Hello, I am Mudita, and welcome back to Satisfactory. This is episode 19 of the load balance playthrough, and today I'm going to tackle batteries. I have most of the alt recipes available to me. I'm going to utilize the classic battery recipe. This is a great alternate recipe that saves on the more rare raw resources like bauxite and sulfur, and power. I'll be making 120 per minute, and that should be more than enough to feed my drone army and any other vehicles I may want to use. I'm going to be using this spot here. Let me briefly explain what's going on here. So it's a pretty easy factory to set up. We've already got 210 aluminum ingots being made. We just need to ship that over. Same thing with the 240 a minute plastic. That's ready. We just need to do the logistics of bringing it over to the grassy fields. I then just need to mine 180 sulfur and 250 copper. The copper will get split between the aluminum sheets and the wire. We'll combine it all with the classic battery recipe, and that will make our 120 batteries per minute. As far as blueprints go, this is a relatively easy factory to set up, so let me run through those real quick. To start, I'll need 10 smelters in total, so I'll be using 2 of the 5 smelter blueprint. For the constructors, I'll need 12 in total for wire, so I'll be using 4 of this 3 constructor blueprint. I need 4 sets of this 2 assembler blueprint for all the aluminum sheets. And at the very top of the tower, there's going to be a total of 4 manufacturers making our batteries. There aren't too many towers to build. In fact, I would say half of this whole process is going to be the logistics, but let me get that started. And just like that, we've got our towers built. So this little one, all we're doing here is mining the sulfur and sending it over to the big orange tower, because that's where all the magic's going to happen. But I do need to overclock this to 180, but I've already got the bus set up except for this part. Oh, it's going to go right in front of the door. Let's just do it on the roof then. I guess the inside would be the ceiling, not the roof. Either way. Alright, so that's all set. So the sulfur is just going to come down here, loop through this building right here, come out, and then just run right alongside this one. So I just added some supports to the sides of buildings since I couldn't run my normal pillars straight down. And that's how the sulfur is going to get into over here. So I think that's the only one that I've decided which one's going where. So that's that. I think I know which one's which, so let me go ahead and just label these real quick. Okay, so we're bringing in both plastic and the aluminum from the train station. So I'm just using one train. It's going to stop at the plastic and rubber plant, and then it's going to go out to the swamp. It's going to pick up the aluminum ingots, and then it's going to come back. So thankfully, the amounts that we're bringing in aren't terribly high, and so even though it is going to be a decent time for a round trip, it's not going to have any issues with these. Even though I'm bringing in more plastic, something to keep in mind when you're using trains and throughput is you need to keep in mind how much they stack to. So even though I'm bringing in more plastic stacks up to 200, whereas ingots of, I think, every type will only stack to 100. This is only using 1.4 slots per minute in a freight car, whereas this is using 2.1. So this is actually going to be the one that I have to keep my eye on, but I'm pretty positive we're going to be just fine. All right, so let me start getting all these machines in place, and then I'll talk the way through the belting, which should be pretty easy for this one. All right, so not too many machines really for this whole thing. It's going to be pretty easy. So let's get all the recipes set though. So as far as copper goes, I need a total of 250, and I'm using 10 machines, so that's just a nice easy 25. And then the constructors are just making wire, and these are all at 100%. The next two floors are both doing aluminum sheets, so let's get these set. Now I need 210 in total, which is obviously divisible by 30, so I could have placed just 7, but load balancing 7, even on my big 8x8 floor, I couldn't fit all 7 assemblers on that floor, and so I would have to do it across 2, and load balancing the 7 across 2 wouldn't be the worst thing, but it's sure a whole lot easier if I just place 8. So we're going to do 210 divided by 8, which is 26.25. So let's just copy and paste. And using more machines means you use less power. So I don't mind. So these are all going to be at 100% and making our classic battery. Because if you're making batteries, I highly recommend this alt recipe. Okay, so let's get some splitters down. So I think these should fit right in the middle. And why is my default yellow? Let's do black. Nice safe color. Easy to work with. And nope, for some reason I still haven't changed this to include these little conveyor belts. Okay, so that's the basics. Let's actually work our way from the bottom. I think doing the belt work that way is easier. The reason I place the machines going backwards is so that I can make the final floor facing the way that I want, and then I can kind of put the inputs and outputs facing the direction that's going to make it like wind around the whole thing the least is what I'm going for. Okay, so from down here, we're going to need a splitter. So let's just throw one right there. And then, let's see, we can just put, let's see where, it should be right there. Okay, so from the miner, this is 250. So mark 3 into there. So that means we're doing 125 on each floor, which is just barely a mark 3 belt. That's okay. So if we're sending in 125, actually, like I've said in other videos, it's easiest when you're looping back to work your way backwards and make sure the belts are all the right speeds. So if these all need 25, that's fine with being mark 1, but that means this is 75, which means that one needs to be 75, which means ultimately once we get the recycle bit going, this belt is going to have 150. So let's do the same thing up here. So that's going to be 150. These are both 75. And from here is the initial 125 coming from the miner. And there you go. Easy as that. So with my 250 copper, I need to split that between 180 for all of the wire and 70 for the aluminum sheets. So the way we're going to do that is I just deleted all the mergers, and we're just going to kind of mess with these ones down here. So since each one of these is putting out 25, that means if I group 3 of them, that would be 75, which would be just a tiny bit more than I need. So I'm going to put, actually, let's face the wrong way. Let's go merger here. So these two are basically just, those are done, more or less, right? I don't need those right now. So when you're splitting things 5 ways, you pretty much always start with a merger instead of the splitter. And then let's just go, all right, so let's go splitter here, splitter there, Merger here and merger there. Okay, so those two can go straight into the mergers. This one goes into its merger. We're basically doing a 5-way split on this. Since it's got 25, I need 5 of it to get grouped up with these. I need the other 20 to get grouped up with these. So we've got the first bit here, and we need to split it 2 ways. And then normally what you would do is you would split both of those. Like if this was a splitter, I would need to split it all 3 ways. Split this all 3 ways, and one of them is going to get looped back to the beginning, and that's how we get our 5-way split. So that goes back into there. Obviously that needs to get connected, doesn't it? So if I don't split this one, that would have the 3/5, right? And so this is our 2/5 that we have to work with. So I already know I want one of those to go over here. The other one we can just send into, well, I guess either one of them, but we'll just do it that way. So this should have, let's see, 20 between those two feeding into it. And this has 25, so we're at like 45. So Mark 1, yeah, for all of these belts is totally fine. Okay, so let's grab some signs, because whenever I do this, it just makes my life easier. Instead of having to try to trace everything back, I can just know. So this has, oh, was that 55 then? So it's 2 25s plus a 5. Let's just do it real simple. And this one is going to be 70. Yeah, that adds up. Each floor has 125. Cool. Okay. So now that we've got those two things split up, now I just need to take that 55 and merge it up with this one. So I guess let's just put, we'll just put a merger there. So if we've got 125 coming out of all of these, we need a Mark 3. With this, let's just go ahead and send this up. Let's see, just right on the foundation line. Let's see, so this is, what did I say, 55? So just Mark 1. And then from here, we'll just have it kind of loop around. All right. And there we go. So this should be, might as well, no reason not to just help future me out if I ever need to check on this factory and wonder what amounts are coming out where. If I just have to add up the machines, it's real easy. But whenever you do splitting and merging, that just sure saves a lot of headache, I feel. Okay, so we've got 15. So 15 for all of these. So all of the ones going into the machines are fine being Mark 1. And actually the ones going into here are fine, because that's only going to be 45 on each of those. So do the same thing up here. And then we will just grab, let's see, that, where was that amount? That's right here. Okay, so it's going to come from this side here. So let's put that there. And yeah, you know what? We'll just put it right there in the middle. So let's see. So we're bringing up 180 for all the wire from this floor, which let's just do that there. So 180, Mark 3. Mark 3 into here. So that means it's 90 and 90 going on each floor. So we just need Mark 2s for these. And at that spot, just nice right angle. Cool. I'll probably mess with the colors and make it all color coordinated eventually. Okay, so with these, we need our aluminum ingots and then the copper. So the way I'm going to do this, because I could move these back, but I really like the machines being kind of in the middle. So this is going to be kind of the weird way. It's not really that weird. Part of the reason I space things out the way that I do is for this reason. So we can put that there, that there. And that one there. Okay, so the way these are getting up here, let me see, is we're just going to put Yeah, cool. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do the split between the two floors. So instead of doing it, you know, on the outside and everything kind of feed in, it's actually gonna come up through the middle, and half of it's gonna go up. That's just easier to show you, isn't it? Okay, so we've got to do it from at least that far. You can't do it as close as you want to. And the reason for that is up here. So if this was 1 meter in, because that would be flush with the lift, 1, 2, I wouldn't be able to make right angles. So that's the closest you can kind of set them, and then it'd just be nice and easy and clean like that. So I'm just making these Mark 1 for right now, just to get them all in place. With the copper, it's absolutely going to be enough for everything past that very first splitter to be Mark 1. The aluminum, I'm most likely going to have to change a couple belts. Let's see. So we got 26.25, so Mark 1, Mark 1. This is still Mark 1. So I guess it's just going to be, yeah, whichever lift is bringing it up. That's the only thing that needs to be Mark 2. And then, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just actually just run, stick both of these up to, so I know the outside kind of one is the plastic, so it's actually probably only going to come up to that floor. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's just run these all the way down. Cool. So we've got 210 of the aluminum ingots, and trying to think which way. Oh yeah. So let's just do that and that. And then right there. Yeah, I was gonna say it's close. Not quite right though. We're just not gonna get a line for that one. That's fine. Should be right there. Okay, so that's that, and then. So that's all of the aluminum, which actually, since I know it's the closest one. Okay, so this one right here is the aluminum. So 210 into there, which means this one needs to be Mark 2, which is that one. Make sure we change that. And then this also needs to be Mark 2, which means we can go ahead and just set this in. This is the Mark 1, and that's already all done. So let's just group up all of this. Actually, no, what am I doing? It's not the wire. I need copper. So the copper can, let's see, where did I leave the copper? Aha, right here. Okay, so let's have the copper. I guess it kind of makes sense just to run the copper up in between plastic and the aluminum, since it's right there. Okay, so let's change it all, because now I'm realizing it makes way more sense. And actually, holy cow, I almost forgot to change it to Mark 2. Oh, nope, can't reach all the way. Okay, so we go into the last lift that we can, and then we finish it right here. That's... Well, oh, wait, can it... If I do it this way? Nope, didn't think so. Okay, there's a good chance I may rearrange this a little bit later, but for now... The concept is the same. That's just at a weird spot, isn't it? Okay, anyways. So let's get the copper up there. So we've got Mark 2 now. Okay, so we're going to switch it. So this is Mark 2. This is the Mark 3. Switch that.
rotate you this way. All right, so now, where exactly was it? Ooh, way farther. All right, so that one goes in there. And then we just need a Mark II into there. And let's swap these around. Okay, so that was Mark II, and now it's just going to be a Mark I. That one's going to be the Mark II. Mark II. Mark II. Mark I. Mark I. Okay, so I think, well, besides these two, I need to swap. Cool. So we got that all swapped around, and I think that's all the inputs for the aluminum. So as far as the manufacturers go, we're just going to set another stack right here. And then I'm just going to make these all Mark I. And then once I know what's going where, I'll make sure that we change the belts. Okay, so I think I'm going to just do this basically as simply as possible. So we're going to put one there, one there, one there, and then I don't remember which side the other one's going to be on. So let's just work our way back. All right, so we've got this floor being merged there. This one we're going to spin around so that I can have it just come right up there. And let's see, so we've got 26.25, so that's going to be just Mark I out of these first mergers. But that will need a Mark II for the lift up here. And there we go. All right, so that is all of the aluminum, and since it's right here, it kind of makes sense to just bring it down. And that should be our 210 aluminum sheets. Well, I guess I should probably finish it. Let's see, so there. So that means, let's see, wait, 210. So that's 105 on this floor, which means everything else can be Mark I. And then the way I'm going to do the split for up here, let's see, where are these? Okay. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to start on the left and then go to the right. So that one's going to be the top. This one's the third one. Okay, so if this one's plugging in there, that means this is 105. That one's 105. And that means this one, 1, 2. And let's just go ahead and put this here. Okay, so Mark II and into there. And there we go. There's aluminum sheets all done. So the only other ones that are coming from machines is the wire. So let's basically do the same thing on this side. So that one's going to face that way. This one's going to face this way. 30 for each one, so that's 90 coming out of that group of 3. 90 and 90. And then this is going to have 180 then. So now we've got 360 coming out of here. Let's see, so well, plastic is going to come from that side. Sulfur is going to come from that side. So really it's just wire. Which side do I want the wire? And all of this, I guess we'll just do it that way. There's a good chance I just keep changing my mind until I figure it out. But all right, so I think that's the 4 spots. So let's just, actually we can just kind of run all of these a bit down because I know the 2 ores come in pretty close to the bottom. Okay, so this floor is where we're going to plug up the wire. So we've got 360 wire. into there. And let's continue running our floor holes. So I think it's right there. Yeah, okay. There and there. Let's see, where are we? Ah, and we made it. Okay, so let's take... Oh, and I already ran the plastic because I was not thinking. Yeah, I'm totally going to end up probably changing this depending on how it looks. But for now, we'll get it to work. 240, so that is Mark III. We're just going to run this thing to the ceiling. And then let's run it to, let's see, where are you? You're right here. Let's see. Yep, it's right on the line, so we just need to go back 2. Change this one to Mark III. And there we go. And then as far as this one goes, let's see, so 180. So Mark III again. Oh no. That guy's in the way. Okay. Well, let's just spin it this way. There we go. I was wondering why it looked off. Alright, and this should be 1, 2. Oh, it was in the right spot. Cool. Alright. And there we go. So now we just need to finish running those all the way up to the top. So those go to this floor. Okay, so with that fixed, let's do our, this is the Mark IV for all the wire going into there, which means this one, let's see, what do we have? 360? So this is 180. And that also means this is the 180 going up to the next floor, which is just going to be right there at the bottom. Ah, nice. Okay, so now we just need to run these two up. I think these are both Mark III. Perfect. Okay, so this is the plastic. So let's go up to here with that. And then this one is the sulfur. All right, so this one being the plastic, that is 240. So that means this is 120. Nice. Which means that's 120, 120. So this one can go right there. So, yes, nice straight shot for that one. All right, and then sulfur is last but not least. So we got 180 in total, so that's Mark II, because it's going to be a 90. And then we just do the same thing up here. And there we go. So that is all the materials fed. That's really not all that many machines. Really a bulk of the work is getting the plastic and the aluminum over here. This is a relatively easy factory to put together. Big reason for that is half of it is the logistics, because that's half of the final products that you need for there. I've already made, so it's really not too bad. But let me jump ahead a little bit and I will kind of show you what I did with the trains. Ta-da! The train is done and it's already bringing stuff. So I went ahead and let the train run a couple times, and then I set this up so that I could test the throughput, because I do want to make sure that the train didn't have any issues that I needed to solve before I tried to turn it on and then realize that there's major issues with throughput. So like I've done with the other ones, I decided to load balance them out of the train storage, because it could just have the full 270 on both of these lines since they only need Mark III, and it would just kind of stop and start, and it really wouldn't be a big deal. I just really like the optics of this, and so this little setup basically siphons out 30. So we go from 270 down to 240, since that's what I need. With the aluminum, it's even easier, because I only needed 210, so I've got the 270 belt, and then we're just taking 60 and looping that back into the start. With a lot of my recent factories, I've been using the priority power switch, which is great because then I can just flip it and everything comes to life all at once. However, with this being in the middle of the grassy fields, and in my opinion, this is what brings my storage facility to its final form,
where I can add a whole bunch of drone ports for my delivery system. I'd rather this be on the same switch as everything else in the grassy fields. So I'm going to hook this one up and then run over and hook up the Sulfur, but we'll start the timer with this one. So let's see how long it takes. Okay, with the Sulfur showing up here, that's kind of my cue to get this started. So the aluminum needs to get turned into ingots first, so I am going to shamefully clip that for like 30 seconds. The reason for it is if I plug in the plastic a little bit too early, then the manufacturers will back up because of the rate that it's coming at. So I kind of want the aluminum to start being made. The wire's already headed up there, but wire stacks to 500, so I've got a pretty long time before that'll back up and make the belt start stuttering. So once we start seeing the aluminum show up, the sheets are actually going to get made really quickly. And I can just delete this now. And get rid of the sink. And plug that in. And let's see how long the rest of it takes. All right, and it looks like, because everything was coming in pretty quickly, I think we're all up to 100% already. Since these aren't having to stutter on or off, which normally they would right in the very beginning if they needed to. I think in not too long we're going to see a completely full lift, and this be a completely full belt. So even though I'm pretty sure this is already 100%, I'm just going to see how long it takes to get a completely full belt headed to storage. Okay, it's looking pretty good. So it turns out if you have half of the parts you need to make this already ready, then it starts up real quick. I think that's less than 10 minutes, so I'm pretty happy with that. So that's 120 batteries per minute headed to my storage. So that is mission complete. The next step is going to be adding a whole bunch of drone ports to the top of this roof and adding all the logistics into that floor in between the two. However, I think I'm just going to make that a separate video, so that will be what's next. The drone delivery system is probably my favorite thing to build and implement in this. It just makes the rest of the game just so much easier. And I do feel like I spent a good amount of time in the last phase, so it is totally worth it in my opinion. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching.